So neither rain nor sleet, but crime. U.S. Postal Service Halt Service in California City overrun by homeless encampments after repeated attacks on mail carriers. Here in Seattle, we've kind of got this attitude towards the homeless. Just let them do their own thing. They're not really hurting anybody. Well, here's another example that may not necessarily be true. Granted, this is in California, and we have not had this incident happen in Seattle, but guaranteed, you wait long enough for this kind of stuff to go on, it's going to. Let's check out this story. This is coming out of Santa Monica, so just north of Venice Beach, where there's been just an incredible amount of homeless encampments just exploding in the area. And downtown LA, I mean, the entire Skid Row area just, that's not good. This isn't looking good. Just kind of like the Tenderloin in San Francisco. So you got issues, and now the United States Postal Service is saying, yeah, I don't think we're going to deliver your mail in your neighborhood. It's probably a hard no-go. And why is that we're not delivering mail in your neighborhood? Well, there's that whole assaulting postal carriers thing that we're not down with. So yeah, you're just going to need to pick up your mail at your local post office. That's what we're doing. Before I jump on in, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Sean Reynolds. I own a couple of real estate companies here in Seattle, Washington. And I read the news. It's what we're doing. All right, let's jump on in. The United States Postal Service is suspending mail services in a Santa Monica neighborhood after a series of assaults on mail carriers in recent months. One of the things I was noticing in this storyline is that the police didn't have they don't have reports on this. And a lot of times when you hear about crime and you know a storyline is going on, you're like, well, yeah, but there was no reports. Nobody reported anything to the police. And in cities where we've had the defund the police thing happen and our numbers are low on officers, Portland, Seattle, where you've got areas where you've got massive undercoverage of cops. You don't have enough cops to cover everything, to basically have public safety. When you're in these cities, people are not calling these instances in. And the reason for that, why bother? So when you read a news story and you say, yeah, but there aren't any documented incidences with the police, it's because people aren't calling. They're just like, I got to deal with this on my own because I don't want to bother the police, even though they should, because we need to know what the accurate stats are on crime. But I'm guilty of it too. My car got broken into down at a park and ride. Oh man, I don't know. Within the last 6 months, they took everything and tossed it out on the ground, took my really sweaty workout clothes and tossed them on the ground. Thanks for leaving them, guys. And they took a bunch of other stuff that, just random stuff. I didn't have anything of value in the car because I never do. But did I call in a report? No. It was late at night. I'd just gotten back from a concert. I'm like, yeah, I'm not dealing with this. So I'm just as guilty. And if you know you're in an area where the police don't have the horsepower, don't have the manpower to do anything about it, they can't follow up, then I don't blame people for not calling it in. But it has to do with the overall problem, because then when it comes out in the media, well, there haven't been any instances of that. Well, not true. There just haven't been any instances that haven't been reported to the police that the police can say, we've had 5 call-ins on this topic. We've had five crimes due to this. One of the big things in Seattle right now is we are not following up on any sexual assault crimes. Like none, because we don't have the horsepower to do that. That's horrible. Crimes against kids, yeah, those go to the top of the heap. Everything else, something happens to you, something happens to your wife, something happens to your girlfriend. Yeah, that's problematic. Like to help you out. However, only got, bandwidth to do what they can. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy what we have going on. And yet here it is. And that's what we're talking about. United States Postal Service has suspended its mail service in a California beach town plagued by homeless encampments. The first incident happened in Santa Monica on January 19th, when a mail carrier was attacked by a broomstick-wielding person. Well, that's better than a hatchet. It is better than a chainsaw. It's better than what did that guy get whacked with? A machete in Seattle. Machete-wielding homeless person with not all of their mental assets intact to make correct decisions in life. So we got a broomstick-wielding person near the intersection of 14th Street and Arizona Avenue, 3 blocks from the beach. If you've watched German in Venice at all, you've seen how crazy Venice Beach has been, with overrun with homelessness, had to come through, clean it out. And then we all know what happens when that happens. You get a handful of people into shelter for the night, and then they just go right back out in the street doing their own thing. So until we get an answer for that, which means actually handling some of the underlying causes of why these folks are making the choice to be homeless in many instances, then this is just going to keep on happening, and you're just kind of moving people around. The carrier reportedly was not injured in the attack, but he got whacked with a broomstick. Okay, so he didn't really get injured. But say it wasn't a broomstick. Say it was a machete. Yeah, not good. Several months later, residents in the neighborhood received notices from United States Postal Service that informed them of the suspension of delivery service to all addresses located along the 1300 block of 14th Street. I'd be pissed. I got to do what? It's bad enough we got all these lunatics running around and our city politicians aren't doing a damn thing about it. And now I got to go over there and get my mail? You got to be kidding me. Yeah, that's what Santa Monica is dealing with, right? Santa Monica is a wealthy area. It is right on the water. I mean, those homes are expensive. I can't imagine those folks are, okay, it's all right. Yeah, I'll just go down to the post office and get my mail. Not a big deal. The notice explained that multiple carriers have been subjected to assaults and threats of assault from an individual who has not been located or apprehended. And, in the media, we don't really want to cover that, because then we'd have to actually do something about it. And you'll see stories from time to time, and you're seeing more and more of them. But the fact is that homeless encampments exploded kind of second half of the coronavirus. And that's during the current administration's stretch. So there's cause and effect for all these storylines. Been reading about the media just in general, numbers on the media. I always see, all right, who's watching what. And it always gets me that Fox just kills everybody else, crushes all other networks, sometimes even combined. And you look at CNN. How about CNN Plus? What a dumpster fire that has been. CNN Plus is, barely operating. Granted, it's brand new and you got to give things time and you got to be reasonable and kind of let things bloom, shall we say. It's springtime. So let's use a gardening term. You got to let things bloom. You have to have an open air or an open base, something or other. I've been watching a lot of gardening videos, and I don't really understand most of what they're talking about, but I will continue watching. So you got to let things bloom. But CNN Plus, its base numbers, not good. If you don't know what CNN Plus is, it's a streaming service, and you got to pay, I think, is it $9 a month, $5 a month, $6 a month? How many streaming services are we going to have that you got to pay $5 a month, $6 a month, whatever? And then you got all these YouTubers and other people who are Patreon. I'd like to thank all my Patreon subscribers, because that's what keeps me on the air. Yeah, I get it. But how many of these services can the market hold? That's what I always think. I guess a lot, because I look at what I pay for in my cable and I'm like, wow, that's a lot. And then I look at, but don't forget Netflix. Don't forget HBO Plus. Don't forget Disney. No Disney. I want to have Disney taken off of my freaking cable thing, right? When you go to your main menu, I want that off. Take that off. I don't care enough, but I do want it off. So annoying. So, in the media, you're just seeing, it's been super interesting to watch those numbers. And as we head into the midterm elections, it's kind of like, Yeah. So there's just this wild vocal minority that doesn't want these storylines to get out because it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good for the elected officials in place. And I think you're going to have a massive, massive routing come these midterms. It'll be, if nothing else, it'll be entertaining to watch. So I'm looking at a photo for those of you on the audio portion on the podcast, the 1300 block of 14th Street in Santa Monica. Some nice homes. And these are not teardowns. You've either got some multifamily or these are just some big, big homes. It's the scene of at least 3 assaults on mail carriers in recent months. And so the USPS has said, no, I don't think so. Yeah, we're going to put a little pause. We're going to reimagine and we're going to rethink our postal carrier service to this street right here in Santa Monica. That's literally what they're doing. I don't know if I've heard of a suspension of service for anything over the years. Literally, you've always got that thing in your head that's, whether it's rain, sleet, or snow, we will bring you the mail. But like the title of this article said, crime will stop, said mail service in its tracks. United States Postal Service spokeswoman Natasha Garvins confirmed that there have been 3 separate incidences in the area involving 3 separate letter carriers over the last several months, according to Fox News Digital. Notice that it's Fox that carries these stories. Interesting, right? Yeah. The other networks, oh, yeah, and it's all good. It's all right. Just let them be. They're fine. This is an unusual but necessary step to protect our employees, Garvin said before declining to go into further detail. We cherish our employees and we'd rather not see them get harmed or their lives ended. So therefore, we're not going to deliver mail down that street because you got a nut job running around who should probably be in a mental institution. But because we're not doing that, no mail for you folks. Sorry. Go to your local mail post office. However, only 1 assault has been officially reported to authorities, CBS News reported. All right. So now you've got CBS News. All right. They're going to step in and say, oh, you only got 1. It's not what we're doing here, folks. It's not what's happening. Got a ton of crime going on out there. People aren't reporting it because what's the point? I mean, reasonable people know what the point is so that we can have an accurate reflection of what's going on. But if you have your store broken into 3, 4, 5 times, on that 5th or 6th time, you're probably going to go, screw it. I'm handling this myself. I don't have, how much time have I spent on their first 4 police reports? You know, hours and hours just filling out forms and then follow up. And you got anything yet? You arrested any? No, it's going nowhere, right? Because we know that break-ins are happening all over. I've got a friend that lives in downtown Bellevue in an apartment, and their management sent out a notice stating, all right, guys, lock up your cars. Don't leave anything good in there. Because, break-ins are happening all over and they're skyrocketing. So, yeah, good luck out there. Literally sent that out. And this is in Bellevue. And Bellevue has historically been a fairly safe town. But we've got knuckleheads coming from Seattle. And why wouldn't they? Oh, look at Bellevue. This is prime territory. This hasn't been overrun with us yet. So let's go there. So literally that's what's going on because then, it's easy money. You take stuff out of rich people's cars and sell it for your next fix. It's kind of what we're doing. CBS doesn't want to talk about that necessarily though, right? It doesn't fit the narrative. Meanwhile, the United States Postal Service has been still delivering packages in the neighborhood despite the notice, yet paper mail delivery has stopped. So packages, good. Regular mail, not so much. They are reducing their chance of their postal carriers getting maimed and or worse by said crazy homeless person. And then residents having to pick up their mail in person at their local post office on 7th Street. All right. I mean, at least you've got a workaround. But this just flat shouldn't be happening. You got somebody that's so disruptive that they're going after the postal carrier. I mean, let the postal worker do his thing or her thing. Let them do their thing. It's a tough job. You got nut job people that are always like, where's my package? How come it takes so long? Why does this cost so much? Well, it's a governmental entity that's being run into the ground. So there you go. As of Monday, it remains unclear as to when the suspension will end. Well, when is the homeless guy next going to strike? Yeah, don't really know. When's he going to get put away? Yeah, we don't really know. So therefore, I would say that suspension stays in existence for a while. A Santa Monica Police Department spokesperson told the outlet that the department first became aware of the USPS suspension of service on Saturday. So USPS is kind of handling it on their own. All right, we got nut job going around, therefore we're going to halt service. They're like private residents who have businesses in these areas that are just being overrun, or people that live in these areas that are just being overrun. They're handling it on their own because there's really no point in going to the police. Person isn't probably going to get caught, and it's a lot of time involved. So, what you should do is report it, but even United States Postal Service isn't reporting it because what's the point? U.S. Postal Inspection Service says it's aware of the recent reports of suspicious activity towards them in Santa Monica, and that's according to a statement provided to Fox. Postal inspectors are currently investigating the incidents and are unable to comment further at this time. All right, so you got a little behind-the-scenes action going on. What that action will result in is who knows. Maybe they try and get this guy off the streets. We don't even know. Don't even know if it's a guy, but I assume. I just picture some guy with no shirt, dirty jeans, and no shoes, no shirt, dirty jeans, and just, methed out of his mind and just running around with a broomstick as you do when you've been up for 4 or 5 days. And, you just been taking $20 hit after $20 hit of meth, smoking that meth. You got that meth energy. Yeah, it's wild time we live in, right? Why isn't that guy in the institution? Oh, we dumped them all out and we're just letting them roam free. We're letting them air out. We're letting them get in a little air. Postal inspectors encourage anyone who observes suspicious activity involving the U.S. mail to report it to local police. Okay. That's the official word. It's not what we're doing. The news comes after dozens of homeless people had to be removed from an encampment in nearby downtown Los Angeles after residents and business owners complained the area was blighted by crime ranging from sexual assault to open drug use, vandalism, fires, and prostitution. All right, a partridge in a pear tree of crime. So, what is it going to take? What kind of action is it going to take to actually have some effect on the homelessness and the encampment situation just popping up all over the United States in these cities that have allowed this to happen? Are you going to have to start literally arresting people, putting them in jail? How are you going to handle it long term? What are you going to do? Because we know offering them housing and giving them the option to go into housing, that's not working. They just move elsewhere. So it's not a long-term solution. Providing lots of long-term care, lots of long-term housing, more than just interim short-term housing, get a lot of that going on. Okay, but a lot of them don't take it. A lot of them won't take it. So then that leaves you with, so what are you going to do? That's kind of been my question all along. And how long is it going to take until some mayor starts to actually drop the hammer and say, all right, this crapola cannot continue. We got to do something. And this whack-a-mole that we're playing when you sweep out one encampment and then all the people just go to another one nearby. And that's what's happened is in this instance here, this was Little Tokyo. They cleared out Little Tokyo, and then housing encampment moved somewhere else, and now it's impacting this street on Santa Monica. It doesn't go away. Just because you sweep it doesn't mean it goes away. That park in particular gets better because the fine citizens of said park, they pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the park redone and get some fertilizer in there, take out the thousands of needles and get the human feces out of there and do a little power washing of the urine off the sidewalk and get all the tents and the thousands of pounds, if not tons of pounds of garbage. Tons of pounds. Makes no sense at all. Tons of garbage out of said encampment. We've seen this happen dozens and hundreds of times if you look at the kind of the micro level of homeless encampments. And here in Seattle, we're clearing out one or two probably every few days. You're just not hearing a lot about it because it's not a message that people want to get out, because then that means, oh, we've got a crap ton of homeless encampments out there. It's not good. That's not a good look. Let's keep that down low as much as we can. And then you've got a documentary that comes out every now and then, like Seattle is dying, and people are like, oh my gosh, what happened to Seattle? Well, it's been on this slow decline for a long time, and you've got politicians that enacted stuff that allowed this to happen, and now we've got people living in tents any which way they want to, and we've got a crazy drug epidemic going on. Here we are, right? So, unfortunately, folks in Santa Monica not getting their mail. Got to get in their car, got to go walk to their local post office, pick up the mail there. So this is an interesting one from the standpoint of the post office. The post office, a disinterested third party, not affiliated, as far as I can tell, not affiliated Democrats or Republicans, has said, yeah, hard no-go on this street. We're not delivering there. We got to figure stuff out. Homeless dudette, possibly. I don't know. We're not really sure. Homeless individual causing some real havoc to people's daily lives, getting their mail. Checks in the mail. Oh, damn it. Got to go down to the post office now to get it. Thanks for being here. We'll catch up soon. Until then, we'll talk then. Bye for now.